Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We are on the planet of Quetzaltemur, where we have found Caligos Winterscale, who is currently hiding behind the snake. We need to take a member of his party, Speaks with Gods, back to his village in order to quell the spirits of this planet, which will then allow all of us to leave. But to do that, we have to figure out which way to go. Left or right?
Rise to the
I
top.
choose
Or get
right,
left in the
because
dust.
that will be correct. Okay, we've been here before. Okay, we've definitely been here before.
The Phaeton system is lost to humanity.
Oh.
We have no way of stopping what Emelina started.
You are creating a gateway for the forces of Cylon Thrash, and you do so under the guise of helping humanity. Why, when seeking salvation from one calamity, do you turn to another?
Okay. Well, it's interesting to hear them mention things that have happened during the game. This is kind of cool that the banter is updating as we go through. I'm going to go the exact same direction we went last time. Why? Well, because that is the best way to solve this maze. We go the exact same direction all the way to our final choice. Then we take one left-hand path, and then we continue to take the right-hand path. And then you know what's going to happen after we do all of that and we get back to a loop. We're going to go to the latest point in that one, then do the loop again, then do the loop again, and then keep doing it till we've gone everywhere.
Always keep your eye on
That's
the
the plan.
prize.
But, yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. And I'm assuming that it's going to take us to the exact same places. There's no reason to suspect it would do anything other than that. It's a little odd that they put a loading screen between each area. I know it's because it's separate areas, and mechanically that's how it works, but it is a little odd. Oh, they're off. Okay, in which case it took us to a different place. Oh, alright then. Well, never mind, there goes my theory.
Is there money
I
to
just
be
kept
made?
going right and it worked. Okay. Sure, whatever. That's obviously what I thought would happen. A group of lean young people surrounds you, shooting anxious glances between you, Caligos the priest, and the grey-headed elder who has stepped forward. Unlike the rest, her skin is completely free of decoration, save for the two-headed eagle branded on her wrinkled forehead. Two-headed eagle is the sign of the Aquila, which is a sign of the Imperium, I believe. Our meeting occurred just as Speak with Gods foresaw. The woman's accent grates on your ears. Her words sound like a fusion of High Gothic and the most vulgar tongue of the rabble. Welcome to the heart of the forest, Starborn. This ruler... Enough of your bleating, old hag. I already told you that your speech offends me so. It makes me want to cut out your tongue. Not even a Chorda preacher would have the patience to listen to you blather on about your stars, gods, spirits, and other nonsense. Caligos waves the woman away and turns his flinty gaze on Speaks with Gods. I am sick and tired of aimlessly trudging through the woods, old man. I am a hunter, and without a quarry I turn into quite the beast. Humbly covering his eyes, the priest nods slightly. Speaks with Gods is ready to conduct the ritual, O Starborn. The heart of the forest is calling out to me. So let this priest serve his gods, not in word, but in deed. It is done! This good-for-nothing psyker has finally proved himself useful. Winterscale looks around the settlement with a bored expression. I intend to have a good night's sleep and enjoy the local delicacies. One good thing about Quetzaltemur is that the fruit here is sweeter than Calixian honey and more tender than the meat of a young grox. You should get some rest as well, Malachi. And remember, it is better to go hunting when you are full of vigor but slightly hungry. The hunger adds acuity, makes the kill more intoxicating, you know? Let me know when you are ready to depart. Or if you decide to share a few stories, then come to the bonfire. It's not often that two rogue traders can indulge in confidences away from prying ears. Winterscale sardonically clicks his tongue and nonchalantly salutes you in farewell. Oh, okay. I guess we've now just got to explore this place. We can do that. By explore, I mean loot. The Children of Quetzaltemur Chronicles. An analysis of the canvases made from wood bast fibre showed that the chronicle has been recorded for at least 500 years. The older chronicles tell of a bleak historical period of the tribe's decline due to an unknown virus. The symbols on the canvas resemble high Gothic letters, but the inhabitants do not know the origin of their meaning, claiming that the sacred knowledge was bestowed upon them by Quetzaltemur himself. This character, revered as a god, obviously originates from the Imperium that we know, his exact name either lost or adapted in accordance with local phonetics. The only other sacred symbol the tribe reveres is the Aquila, the two-headed eagle god. A group of the most interesting canvases depicting tragic yet heroic deeds was confiscated and taken on board for further investigation. Many of the words made up from the scrambled Gothic symbols were easy to decipher, such as banish, sacrifice, valley, or lands, as well as death, incomprehensible and merciful. This part most likely talks about some sort of sacrificial pilgrimage. A priest has confirmed my theory. Any tribesmen who have committed an offense can atone by sacrificium, a journey to the Deadlands full of unknown deaths. The adepts that I have sent to investigate the Deadlands have not returned yet. End of log. Okay. So this is obviously somebody who, I mean, we can see who it is. It's a monograph by Carl Emanuel Cerebium Doe on the culture of Imperium's far worlds. But these obviously come to do, like, anthropology, is that the right word for it? Anyway, like, he's come to study these tribes, or these far-off places. Interesting. Hello. Speaks with gods, welcomes you, Starborn. His violet eyes are reverently trained on you. How can speak with gods help you this time? Tell me about yourself, old man. Speak with gods is the name of this humble servant of the forests, rivers, and mountains. For when the two-headed eagle god speaks, this servant listens and recounts the words to his tribe, and the tribe carries out his will. So the two-headed eagle god looks to me speaking to him through a cogitator. That's interesting. The old man closes his eyes. His body sways to the rustling of the leaves and the babbling of the stream. Although if he's a psyker, it could just be... Well, I mean, the people who speak to you as a psyker would be, like, chaos people, which probably isn't a good sign. Anyway, the servant of dreams, nightmares, and reveries can see things that others cannot see. What has transpired and what is yet to be. Your appearance in the heart of the forest and... The priest falters for a moment. The consequences it bears for Quetzaltemur. What consequences of my coming to this world did you see in your visions? The Sky Herald stands at the crossroads. I see all of his choices and see none of them. This servant knows one thing clearly. The Starborn must go to the Deadlands to destroy the one who should have been long dead. Suddenly the old man throws his head back, his body shudders and droplets of blood burst from between his clenched teeth. The sunset rays will paint the heart of the forest crimson if the darkness leaves it. The two stars will part, then meet again. Crimson, crimson. The fading light can still be saved. The priest covers his face with his hands and breathes slowly, finally coming to his senses. Forgive this servant, Sky Herald. The waking dreams are often the most painful. That's strange. I can't see or hear anything from this side, but I'll go ahead and say it since nobody else wants to. I don't like this one bit. So if the darkness leaves the forest, something bad will happen? I thought it was usually the other way around. Okay, yeah, of course, we still need to look for her door as well. Tell me about your tribe. We are the children of the fiery mother and the pale father, who look after us by day and guard us by night. The faithful servants of the two-headed eagle god, who shields our lands from misfortune with his wings. We are the undergone forest-dwelling children of the earth. and the guardians of the temple of Quetzaltemur, the first starborn to have set foot on the virgin soil of this land. Tell me about Leads Ahead. Leads Ahead is the half-sister of this servant of smoke, fire, and ash. She was the first to emerge from the mother's womb, and thus named the next ruler of the tribe, and this servant was the shield to fend off the disasters from his ruler. Many years later, when the gift of the Eagle God awakened from inside the servant, Leads Ahead named her brother the priest of her tribe. Your way of speaking is strange, just like your sister's. The old man looks down, embarrassed. Forgive the servants of Quetzaltemur for their speech, O Starborn. No matter how much the ancestors try to pass the language of the gods onto their descendants, the tribe seldom use it. The gods only descend from their heavenly palace, not more than once in 3 life dwells. Other questions? Okay. Did the ritual truly make the forest safe? The priest nods affirmatively. The spirits from the darkness brought the fire rain down on Quetzaltemur, killing many of the tribe who had cared for the forest young and ancient. This blasphemy enraged the guardian spirits, but as soon as the servant of the wind, rain, and sand soothed them with ritual sacrifices and divine sorcery, the wrath gave way to mercy. Did you not foresee this in your visions? The dreams come and go, Sky Herald of the faraway stars. Sometimes the servant of the gods can understand the mystical visions of the days of old, or the future, but even speaks with gods cannot fully comprehend the divine design of the two-headed eagle god. Sometimes I am blind even when I can see. You are a good man, even if you are an unsanctioned psyker. The old man smacks his lips, pleased with the praise. Blessed is a life that serves the two-headed eagle god and his sky heralds. Tell me, how did you and Winterscale survive all this time? The Starborn who carries the seal of Quetzaltemur's descendant is strong in both body and will, as befits a god. The servant, like the rest of his entourage, had grown weak on just the 7th night of our journey. The Starborn continued to lead us fearlessly, pressing forward to seek out the spirits from the darkness even among the twisted paths, delivering the sky's judgment. The servants of the grass, flowers, and trees regrets only the imminent death of the Starborn's companion, the one who you call Seneschal. He quarreled with the ironclad guardian, and his words enraged the Starborn, and thus he slashed the unfortunate man's body up with his axe, and threw the remains to the wild animals of Quetzaltemur for them to feed on. Oh, so Caligos killed his equivalent of Abelard. Interesting. Do you mean to say that Winterscale killed his seneschal? The servant saw everything with his own 2 eyes. The old man pauses in hesitation, then continues. It is not proper, perhaps, for the mere speck of dirt under the heels of the sky herald of the two-headed eagle god to muse upon the dead, or deed. However, the servant did sense with his entire being the rage that possessed the Starborn in that moment, and the ironclad guardian revelled in his god's wrath. Ironclad guardian? I suppose you mean the Caligos Winterscale's arch-militant. Orton the Grey seems dangerous to me even on our first meeting, but our time together spent wandering through the forest cemented this notion. Okay, so, yeah. Interesting. So Caligos had quite a lot of rage from his seneschal, or to his seneschal, or aimed at his seneschal, I guess would be the best way of putting it. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's move on. There might be more to that. Also, I'm wondering whether this mercenary slith, like random slith, whether it would become someone else. Like, I was more thinking it could become the one that we met in Komarag, had we not killed them. I think that would be interesting. But, anyway, doesn't matter. I can't speak to them, can speak to Caligos, but I think that's moved forward. Let's speak to... I can speak to you? The forest is our home, but the forest is angry. Speaks with gods will appease the forest and we will live as we have before. Let's speak to she who leads forward. Nothing to say. Okay. That's fine. We have some goods over here. We'll grab those. I do hear like a hammer banging. That sounds interesting. More dwellers of the forest. Have we got any other loot in here? We have a way out over this way. So this takes us to the ancient totem. Okay. That sounds intriguing.
Let us not
Let's keep
dawdle.
just exploring the corners here. Yeah, there's loot at the end. That's fine. Grab it. It sounds like it sounds like something's happening over there. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, also, yeah, there is more loot over here. Does this take us back to the forest? To the scene of the slaughter. Oh, so they all have names now, rather than being, like, just a place in the forest, because they all lead
Keep
somewhere.
your wits about you.
We cannot get to where the noise was. Okay, that's fine. Let's grab the goods, and... yeah. Can I leave? I don't necessarily want to leave, I just want to explore everywhere that we could have explored out and about. Let's do a save, and let's see whether it'll let us explore.
Rise to the top.
Obviously, if it won't let us explore, we'll just reload, but... I'm interested to see whether it will allow us to go to places, because I think there must be a secret place to go to. It's one of these things that makes sense. One of these places. This is scene of the slaughter, so we've been here. So this takes you to the ancient totem, to the forest settlement. So we beat that forest settlement was just where we were, so let's go to the ancient totem.
I always keep my options open.
I can't remember whether we've been to the ancient totem before. But let's go there, let's see what's going on here. Okay. So, in. We haven't been here because we would have looted it. Okay, let's turn... oh, Kaligos is with us. I'm going to reload then. I said that was my condition. Where are we? Are we... these are almost identical in terms of where we are. Yeah, let's reload. I don't want to leave the camp with Kaligos yet. And we know that we can just go to the ancient totem from the camp anyway. I want to speak to everybody who we can at camp before we leave. Because Kaligos said we could share stories. And I'm not sure if we can do that if we've just left. So,
is there money to be made?
Let's head up this way. And let's have a little chat with Kaligos. Because he's the last person we haven't spoken to. Also, can we speak with you now I've reloaded? Nope. Alright, Kaligos. A nice walk that, wasn't it, Malachi? You may have helped us navigate the living forest clutches, but don't let it go to your head. I would have managed by myself sooner or later. Winterscale chuckles and repeats, sooner or later. I have some questions to ask of you. One day, you too will grow sick of all the talking. Then you too will choose shooting Xenos on a wild planet over endless intrigue. Cheerful notes ring in Kaligos' voice. Fine, we have plenty of time. So be it. I will give you a private audience. If dear Chorda knew how close-knit we had become, she would surely have branded us conspirators. It'd be interesting if we could tell him about Chorda, but I guess not. Let's discuss the Aeldari problem. You care about them that much, new blood? Kaligos bellows in disdain. Go ahead then, try to convince me that the vile Xenoscum deserve the mercy of Kaligos Winterscale. But remember, you only get one chance to try. The Craftworld perished at the hands of my dynasty. I wish to make amends for Theodora's mistakes. Would you sell them to me? Interesting, the Winterscale I've heard of would never have thrown his protectorate to Chorda so easily. If you were to agree, you would have a rogue trader and the head of a powerful dynasty at your debt. Or Ibrek Afdeth made a promise that your dynasty would fulfill any request from me if I were to lead you at the forests of Quetzaltemur. He won't accept that. He won't accept that at all. I don't think that that's some. I don't think he'll honor that deal. I don't think he'll care about the Craftworld. I don't want him to sell the Xenos to me. So that leaves us with two. We appeal to his ego, or we give him something more. I think we do this. If you were to agree, you would have a rogue trader and the head of a powerful dynasty in your debt. Frankly, your desperation excites me, Malachi. It even makes me want to know whether you're driven by foolishness or treachery and cool calculation. Winterscale looks at you appraisingly, scratching his chin. Well, I'm quite curious to see how large a dagger you might stab me with. I shall think on your offer. That is the only promise you will get from me. Okay, so what I'm hoping is that having had this conversation, it's going to lead to things later, right? I think if we had missed that, there's a chance that later he wouldn't be inclined to do what we want. I hear you've decided to oppose both the Lord Inquisitor and the Chorda dynasty. A void kraken may eat them both for all I care. Winterscale makes a wry face and clenches his fist in anger, acting as if their war on heresy in the Expanse is just starting. I've been living it for decades. I don't need an inquisitorial preacher, and I certainly don't need Incendia's goodwill. Tell me about Quetzaltemur. Your inquiries are curious, to be sure. Quetzaltemur is a planet with a rather dreary backstory. A long time ago, it supplied my great-grandfather with tons of succulent fruits and thousands of cargo containers filled with a special building fiber processed from the local forests. The population all lived in large cities a safe distance away from the tangled paths and trees, and then this quiet life was dashed by Xenos raids. They burned down the cities and shackled our people faster than our ships could help. In the end, the local governor ran away, leaving the remaining people at the beast's mercy. And the people in turn fled the big cities that attracted the Xenos. And that is how the forests that the rabble feared became their salvation. The planet fell into decay. There was no one to populate the cities, and there was no one to extract resources. Quetzaltemur expected 3 new arcs filled with settlers to arrive from the Imperium. But in 500 years, not one of them has reached the Expanse. Do not turn your gaze to me, Elentak. It was not my kin who desolated this world. Marzai gives Kaligos a lazy look. I remember the times when this planet was nothing more than a source of amusement for the Cabals. When its supply of squealing meat ran dry, so did our interest. Winterscale examines him as if thinking of the most efficient way to snap his spine. And now the beasts have returned to become meat for my amusement. Glorious. How did you survive in the forest all this time? The forests of Quetzaltemur are not like the jungles of Kachikan, New Blood. The only thing that could kill you here is your own stupidity, or an unfortunate coincidence in the form of a stray Xenos or a rare predator. Rainwater for breakfast, nutritious larvae for lunch, and fermented fruit in place of wine for supper. One could not wish for better hunting grounds. Kaligos laughs, then falls silent, evidently unwilling to share the details. I've noticed that your people look utterly woebegone, while you do not have a single scratch on you. That means my people are weaklings, and I shall change that soon. As for me, I have been of stout constitution since the day I was born. At first, Kaligos shrugs his shoulders indifferently, but after looking closer at his companions, he raises his brows in surprise. It seems the rogue trader has just realized the validity of your words. Okay, so we had him being filled with rage earlier, and kind of being single-focused on that. We now have him not noticing that his companions are like having a tough time and are ragged and really have not survived as well as he has. It seems like it's a little disconnected from the world. Interesting. I saw the corpse of your seneschal at the forest camp. The old man was a weakling. That's why he's dead. That's what happens when you can no longer fulfill your duty to your master. Fortune grins in contempt, his entire being expressing his disdain for the seneschal. Kaligos carries himself with an air of indifference, but the sudden furrows in his forehead betray his regret. Many fine warriors have perished on this hunt. Raise a toast to their name when you can. Okay, interesting. So, he didn't notice his companions were running ragged. He didn't, or he was completely filled with rage with the seneschal. He now feels regret over the seneschal. Interesting. It does seem like he's losing control of himself. It's time to go seeking Aeldari. It's about time indeed, Malachi. Kaligos gives you a friendly pat on the shoulder and summons his retinue with a gesture. It may take a while to find them on their trail, but Wharton here has a keen eye, and his sense of smell can rival any old dog. We will do just fine, especially with the forest being on our side now. Let's go. Try not to fall behind. Oh, okay, so this takes us somewhere else. So this doesn't take us to the totem place. Okay, interesting. I'll keep going with this, but we may come back. Oh, this has moved us somewhere else. I hope we can come back. Okay. Well, yes. We will just simply hope we can come back. If we can, there's not a lot that we can't undo very quickly. Because, you know, although there was a lot of dialogue, realistically we can get through dialogue really quickly if you don't read it. Let's see if there's anything over here, just because there's some extra areas over here for us to go to. Nope, okay. Got demolitions to get to those goods. Well, let's do it.
That was a problem for you.
He sounded very surprised. Ah, he got us 2 melta charges and some resonance grenades, which deal damage which goes up with the target's deflection and armor. And it's direct damage. So that deals damage ignoring deflection and armor to somebody with deflection and armor. That's very interesting. That would kill bosses really quickly, I would imagine, especially if you had some other buffs, which we haven't been taking. But there's definitely, if you had those buffs, that would be your best weapon you've ever seen. And if you had the thing that means that you don't always use your consumables, that would be even better. But anyway. Oh, hello, Aeldari. A stately Aeldari warrior steps forward, calmly looking at the intruders. His armor and its adornments gleam in the sun, despite the traces of dried mud and caked blood. The Farseers instructed me to send you away, monkey. The smooth voice of the Xenos sounds out of place in the rough wilderness of Quetzaltemur. However, I recently stopped meekly heeding their counsel, and besides, there is my sister among you. I'm curious what the Outcast message is. Nocturne of Oblivion. Wait a second. Is that not the same Nocturne that we met in Comarag? Interesting. Vain recruit, a masterful display. Your temper, brother mine, you ought to quell. Bravado has no place within this play. Indeed, the merchants prove this all too well. This actor excellent who did alight by the stage now will this piece complete by choosing a finale apostate who shall survive and who their doom shall meet. Nocturne of Oblivion's mournful horned mask avidly tracks your face. Okay, it's difficult to say with certainty, however, that you are of the opinion that Nocturne of Oblivion's disposition towards you is better than that of his kin. I do not know about you, Malachi, but these Xenos bastards are giving me the creeps. Gallegos shifts his excited gaze from the Aeldari warrior to the solitaire and back. This one in a dappled motley, I want to kill him right now. Wharton the Grey bares his teeth in anticipation and clutches the hilt of his sword. Let's examine the Aeldari's camp. The Xenos made their camp among the ruins of an ancient city of the Imperium. Only the alien growths of the Xenotech and the wreckage of the Aeldari ship disturb the picture of centuries-old devastation and rebirth. Despite the demonstrative ease, most Xenos are pushing themselves to their limit. They are exhausted, nervous, and frightened, even if they hide it well. This may have eluded your companions, but not you. Okay. Nocturne of Oblivion, it's certainly been a while. What are you doing here? The solitaire bows theatrically. With embers glowing, cupped in my 2 hands, I bear them through the deluge to the heart. Okay, same thing as before for the blue. The Harlequin's metaphor implies he has been accompanying the surviving Aeldari for a while now. It is not clear to you what hearth he is talking about, but perhaps he managed to find them a new home. We've got a dogmatic 1 attack. I don't want to do that just yet. I'm here to resolve this conflict peacefully. I'm thinking of the best way to do this. I was kind of tempted by 2, but the reason I want to say 1 is 1 sets out, we want to do this peacefully. 2 is confrontational, right? 2 is, you invaded this world, I want to know why before I kill you, right? You could read that different ways. Number 1, you can only really read in one way, and that's why I'm going to choose it. A tapestry complex is peace, and one that many threads demand for warp and weft. For this design 3 wills together spun, his greed will sate in hands of weaver deft. The gruesome scars of past distrust bewailed, with compact subtle gauze shall now be veiled. Okay, well let's have a look at this one, because we like to go through these and work out what exactly he means before we go and find out. So, a tapestry complex is peace. It's going to be difficult to get to peace. And one that many threads demand for warp and weft. I have no idea what weft is, but we can work it out. For this design, 3 wills together spun. So we have our will, Kaligos' will, and the Aeldari's will, I assume. Its greed will sate in hands of weaver deft. We can satisfy it if we are deft, so I'm assuming that it's meaning that if we come up with a solution that is like smart, or we come up with the right kind of solution, then we can sate the greed of the situation. The gruesome scars of past distrust bewailed. So this is Kaligos, right? Because we know that Kaligos was saying that the Aeldari came to this world and they destroyed this world. It's also the Aeldari, because the Aeldari know that we killed their Craftworld, or something similar to that. As in, they know that the Craftworld was destroyed by humans at the very least. Which, you know, that both of them fit in this circumstance. With compact subtle gauze shall now be veiled. So, if you can apply something to the wound, you can veil it and we can move on. That's what I'm thinking. Playing with your prey like a cat. Fine, new blood, you are still young. Just remember that patience is not my strongest suit. The Aeldari watches Kaligos closely. After everything Elentak has done for my people, I'm willing to answer his questions. But you better not make any sudden moves, monkey. Interesting. So this is another Aeldari that's treating us with a level of respect. The warrior looks at you tiredly. We did not attack this world, Elentak. The last of Cruderak's children assembled once more to scour the master of flesh Tervantius from the memory of the universe. The homunculus who abducted and tortured the Farseers from our Craftworld. We learned that he is hiding in this world, but something prevents our Farseers from discovering his lair. So we were forced to act decisively. The Komarag Master of Flesh is here. Urliette ignores the veiled confession and inhales hungrily, doing her best to remain calm. We must destroy him. This is what we are here for, Outcast. Stretch out your hand, grasp the Spear of Vengeance together with us, and plunge it into the dark heart of the Architect of Torment. What if I say it's my predecessor who is to blame for Cruderak's demise? I don't think that that's what we're going to say. I don't think that gives us I think that's the wrong thing to say at this circumstance. I say, you call purging an entire world a decisive action? Our Farseers, those whom we managed to save, could not name the exact location of the flesh sculpture. Even after our ships had circled the world for a 3rd time, something prevented them from seeing the truth. Something powerful. We knew your patrols would soon discover our presence, and so we decided to do something else, to exterminate the homunculus alongside the world he had chosen as his refuge. Aeldari shrugs vaguely. The monkey are flooding the galaxy at the speed of a meteor shower. This world will repopulate. Eventually. Is a single world not worth eliminating a powerful enemy who threatens hundreds of such worlds, both yours and those of my kin? You may hide your anger behind the facade of benevolence all you want, cousin. Except I see straight through you, a dejected, lost, and frightened soul. Are you not worried about your precious path? Or have you decided to study our arts at last? The Aeldari warrior purses his lips and glares at Marazai furiously, but does not grace him with a reply. Winterscale raises an eyebrow. And you still deem him worthy of conversation? Okay. Let's see what we're gonna say here. Address Earliette, I think, is the best answer. I'm just looking at who we need to deal with here. So, I think Earliette is the one we have to deal with first. Earliette's gaze wanders from Kaligos to the Solitaire, and from the Solitaire to the Aeldari warrior and back again, an outcast among her kin and strangers alike. A sorrowful burden that not all can bear. Okay. Do you still think your kin is worth saving? I never doubted it, Elentak. To you, the deeds of my kin may appear cruel or even criminal, but spending enough time among the monkey granted me clarity of vision. Sometimes you treat your own kind even worse in pursuit of baser goals or personal gain. Earliette proudly squares her shoulders. The homunculus is a threat to both our species, Elentak. You know well what his dark heart and perverted mind are capable of. Tervantius must be destroyed, and my kinsman took on the role of the vengeful blade. Okay. I'm going to speak to Kaligos. We're going to say what Earliette said to us to him. The bored Kaligos Winterscale is gone without a trace. The rogue trader is closely studying the potential battlefield, his enemies, and the heads of future trophies. Okay. Kaligos, you should not kill the Aeldari. What an amazing, argument. There's nothing in there. There's no persuasion. We're just like, you shouldn't kill them. And I guess he's just gonna say, you know what? You're right, I shouldn't. What? Why? Taken aback by your statement, Winterscale lowers his power axe for a moment. Okay. Well, that is interesting that it was just like, what? Why? Like, why shouldn't I kill them? And that's fair. We probably should have done something initially to tell him. So I can say, look at yourself. You're becoming a monster whose only desire is to kill. You no longer see profit beyond the thrill of the hunt, or I will kill them myself after I find out what I need to know. Look at yourself, Kaligos. You're becoming a monster whose only desire is to kill. Stop tugging at my conscience, Malachi. You sound vile, like Incendia from my nightmares made flesh to ruin the mood. Kaligos grimaces in frustration. Your words seem to have not angered, but upset him. Throne take you and all misfortunes in the galaxy along with it. Winterscale gives you a clap on the shoulder. The expression on his face is mysterious and almost sad. I must confess that all this dismal talk gives me a migraine, and my old wounds ache. So, you want to save these Xenos, suit yourself. By my grace I entrust you with the lives of the enemies of humanity. Have fun. We will be heading back now. What kind of hunting is it when the prey does not even struggle in your grasp? I'm disappointed. Kaligos flashes a provoking grin. And don't you think I'm going to forget about your words and promises, Malachi. We will get back to it later. We did it! You prevented 10 combats through dialogue. Achievement unlocked. Okay. Earliette brushes a strand of fiery hair from her forehead and nods appreciatively. I know how difficult it is to go against the will of your kin, yet I cannot hide my joy that we have both lived through this moment, and came up with a tale to tell. After all the suffering that the monkey have inflicted upon the children of Gruderak, after all the punishment we have inflicted upon this world, my heart remains troubled, knowing that we have tempered our grudges for a while and have parted without a fight today. However, I dare not complain. For my kin, the hour of triumph has arrived at last. Once the Master of Flesh is no more, we can go to the edge of this stellar expanse, away from the gaze of the monkey, and peacefully wait for the arrival of our allies from distant stars. What are you talking about? Shai Ren Kai. Her Earliette stares intensely into the eyes of the Aeldari warrior, but his gaze remains steady and calm. Do not interrupt the conversation. Outcast Earliette, I have some good news for you. Our Farseers managed to contact the children of the Craftworld, Owlcat, and soon your fellow outcasts will visit the part of the galaxy called the Expanse by the monkey. They will take us away, give us a new home, and... Shiren K keeps his gaze on you, wondering if he should continue. Is that what an adherent of the Path of the Warrior wishes to tell me? Were those the words meant to comfort my heart? Earliette's words ring with contempt and desperation. Oh, Asuryan, your children once again seek to appease their pride by sending their kin to the monkey worlds for slaughter. The Farseer's mistakes doomed Krudarak, Shiren Kai, and their excessive cruelty and thirst for vengeance almost ruined those of us who managed to survive against all odds inside the void between the alien stars. You know it just as well as I do, but you keep doing their bidding. Oh, Shiren Kai, you could take the Webway Gate and go away from the dangers and tribulations of the Expanse, but you've chosen to stay here instead. You are dying, you're feuding with the monkey. Have the children of Asuryan not spilt enough blood? Have been losing our home not enough? Why do you wish to expose even more of your kin to mortal peril? Shiren Kai's iron will falters under Earliette's relentless pressure. It is too late to change anything. The deed is done. The will is honored. The outcasts from Owlcat will come to the local stars, and we will leave alongside them, sister. Okay. Well, are you saying there's another Aeldari Craftworld heading into the Expanse? May Asuryan save us from this woe. Shiren Kai folds his arms on his chest in a graceful gesture, but the horror is obvious in his face. No, I will not allow another world to perish at the hands of the monkey, even if this means forsaking my soul. A bold statement from someone who has not forsaken his soul even once yet. And I am not going to reveal all the secrets of my kind to you, Mon Elentak. You have helped us in the hour of need, but I trusted you at the outcast's behest. But I will say this. The warriors of Owlcat will arrive at your stars. This is the unalterable truth. Okay. Well, I did not sign up for yet another war against the Xenos in the Expanse. Recall your kinsmen. Our Farseers paid an insurmountable price to contact the Craftworld located billions of stars away from here. Many of them perished to give the survivors an opportunity to be rescued, and I will not jeopardize the lives of those who yet remain. Earlier, are you going to leave me and escape with the rest of the outcasts? Is that what worries you now, Elentak? Earliet gives you a disapproving look. I may leave the Expanse one day, but the only thing you should be concerned about right now is how to appease the wrath of my people. It will take the warriors of Owlcat many years to discover the Webway Gate capable of bringing their strike force into the Expanse. Perhaps you will be too old by then, and on your deathbed, you will hear the tidings of the children of Asuryan coming to exact their vengeance. For some reason, your words bring a faint smile to Earliette's lips. Worry not, Elentak. It is my turn to rescue you and your people. Did I say something in between? No. Okay. Rescue me? How? Like a forgotten shadow, the solitaire steps into the light and leans forward with interest, a spectator watching the culmination of an exciting performance. During the exile, I met many companions who temporarily joined me in my endless travels. Earliette closes her eyes. One such companion was a fellow outcast who had already completed many paths. It was he who told me about the ritual of unity, an exciting opportunity for one spirit to reach out and touch the infinity circuit of the Craftworld familiar to the Farseers who perform it. Shiren Kai said that the Krudarak Farseers have already contacted Owlcat, and that means I can too. Has the darkness of space driven you mad during the exile, sister? Shiren Kai recoils from Earliette as if from a scorching flame. Not even the ones walking the path of the seer with all their power risk joining the souls of the ancestors inside the circuit. They are wise and know the ritual is perilous for the soul. Your chances of success are simply negligible. You would die before you achieved anything. And even if you would not, ask yourself fairly, why should the ancestors listen to a simple outcast? Like you said, Letok is a world of my fellow outcasts. They are not going to hurt me on purpose, and this is giving wings to my hope. Look me in the eye, Shiren Kai. Do you wish to end the suffering of her kinsmen? I can see the reply in your heart. You must accept it and help me. Though Erliet's words are addressed to her kin, she is watching your reaction closely. Okay. Why are you so certain the Aeldari are going to attack our worlds? I think I like that question. Because they are driven by grief and bereavement. Sometimes the pain blinds even the best of us. Unless the warriors of Letok arrive in this part of the galaxy, the sons and daughters of Crudarak are going to perish among the worlds of the monkey. This is the fate you wish for us. We will find another way. Understand it is not easy for those who have lived all their lives sheltered within a craft world to accept that sometimes life leads us down different paths. But the path that you and the Farseers have chosen only leads to more pain. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say. We could object. We could let her handle it on her own. But I think I like number 2. This is your life and your people, Erliet. I will stay by your side no matter what path you choose. I think I like the way that one's phrased. I think all 3 could lead to the exact same place here. But I think that 2 is just a better way of phrasing it. And I do appreciate it, Ellen Tak. Erliet nods and underscores her words with familiar gestures of gratitude. I did everything I could, Shiren Kai. You know what you should do. The Solitaire does not intervene, but shifts his gaze to Shiren Kai as if expecting to hear the last line of a play before the curtain falls. May Asoyan forgive his children. Shiren Kai sighs and gestures to a few of his warriors. Fetch the Farseers. Tell them the outcast wishes to perform the ritual. We'll wait for them here. The strange energy that permeated the clearing where the paths of the humans and Aeldari happened to cross is gradually dissipating. All eyes turn to Erliet, the Aeldari who managed to survive the deadly ritual and woke up looking thoughtful and enlightened. I don't know who's speaking. Okay. Have you survived? Asoyan showed you mercy, outcast. And so did our ancestors from the Infinity Circuit. Tell me, sister, what was their answer? I am tired of the Farseer's blindness, my kinsman's hatred, Shiren Kai. All of the choices of our people led only to suffering and the loss of our loved ones. I no longer wish to be an accomplice to someone else's or somebody else's hatred and pay for the mistakes of the ones who were supposed to guide us towards the light but lead us into oblivion. Erliet glares at the nearby Farseers. I convinced my kin to divert the river of their anger. The outcast cohorts will arrive to the Expanse, unseen and unheard, but not for the sake of war. They will find and take away those who remain, the last sons and daughters of Crudarak, and then they will leave the Monkey Stars without a trace, forever. The angry Farseers try to object, but Shiren Kai gently interrupts them. Brothers and sisters would not dare ask you for more, Erliet. I understand your choice, even though my spirit cannot fully accept it. Erliet, are you alright? This Aeldari sorcery looked dangerous. I am fine, Ellen Tak. A gracious look and a slight smile underscore Erliet's words. Thanks to you, I have finally reached the end of my path. This path. I am grateful I had you to walk alongside me. So what is happening now? After the Master of Flesh has been dealt with, Shiren Kai sighs tiredly, a faint shadow of a smile gracing his face. We will go home as soon as possible. Okay. I'm not going to say 2 for a reward. Do you still hope to find a homunculus? The Aeldari produces an unknown Xeno device. The Farseers cannot divine where the Master of Flesh makes his lair, for an unknown force is hiding him from the penetrating gaze of the Wise Ones. The children of Asoyan have never encountered anything like this before. Having circled the world several times and having failed in our search, we ventured to unleash the pent-up fury of the planet in hopes that it would be graced with a fortunate accident. Alas, the fate of the Master of Flesh remains unchanged. The Farseers could feel the beating of his black heart, but were powerless to do anything. This is when our rangers began to deduce the coordinates of his lair based on the readings of the Wise Ones, the lands untouched by the fired weapons, and they would have succeeded had the monkey not attacked our fleet. The Aeldari device thrums, and a holographic projection of the world with several marked coordinates appears in his palm. I will share the information I have gathered, for I hope that even a Master of Flesh will not be able to elude 2 pursuers at once. I would not mind cooperating in the future. If our paths cross again someday, we'll begin our conversation by greeting one another, and not unsheathing our blades. Sharon Kai ponders something. Your time in this world is too short to hope for it, but I will remember our promise, Elentak. Okay, you've established a unique relationship with the Xenos known as the Aeldari. Okay, I'm not going to ask for, because she's already said that she is on her own path. It's time to track down the homunculus. We'll search the part of the world where the local star sets down. You should go where the star wakens. Good hunting to you. Okay. So, after all of that, we have... So I'm just trying to find an angle which works here. We have managed to save the remaining Aeldari from Krudorak without having us go into a war with the Xenos. And Caligos did not attack them, although we owe Caligos a debt. And now Urliet is on a new path. Interesting. It did feel slightly as if this scene was not entirely finished. It felt like there were a few bits in between that we were missing. Like, the ritual was very, very short. But this is cool so far. Next time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to speak to Nocturne above. We're going to go and speak to Caligos. And then I think we also need to find this door, which I imagine it has to be where the homunculus is, because that seems to line up. Because, you know, Adira still needs to find her door. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.